Hi there, this is the first video from a series of such videos where the idea will be to very briefly talk about a main takeaway from among the things that we do in one of my classes on VHDL and FPGA design. So the first such video is about structural versus functional styles of description in VHDL. The best way to talk about structural versus functional is to look at an actual example, which in this case is a 4-bit adder, the hello world example in the world of coding in VHDL and or Verilog. It is a very simple design entity whose declaration is as shown over here. We are trying to add two numbers, A, B, each represented on 4 bits, and generate an output S, the sum of those, and a 1-bit carry output. And in this case, I wanted to do a structural description of the architecture of this design entity. And when I know how the internal structure of such a design should be, at least at this level, the top level, and I'm doing a structural description. So this structure is essentially a chain of 4 identical instances of a 1-bit full adder, and the first one does the addition of the least significant bits of the main inputs in B, takes a 0 as a carry input and generates a carry output that is wired connected to the carry in of the next 1-bit full adder, and so on and so forth. The carry output from the last 1-bit full adder is giving us the carry output at the top level. So this is a structural description. I know the internal structure. I want the synthesis tool to implement and honor this structure. This is the structural description, and most of the times would be instances of components. In this case, is just one component instantiated 4 times, like so, with the direct connections among them. So it's very clean, very organized, and we have a good control over how the final design will look like. It will have 4 identical one bit full adders like that. The component 1-bit full adder itself is described in a separate VHDL file. It has again its own design entity declaration and its own description. However, in this case, the description is what's called or referred to a functional or behavioral description. That is really simply 2 signal assignments that specify what the functions, how the functions as Boolean or logic functions of those 2 outputs, sum and carry output, are implemented as logic functions. So this is the functional or behavioral description, where we specify the behavior by really writing down what those Boolean functions are like so. So in summary, so far, this design entity is described at the top level using the structural approach, which is the recommended, preferred one, at least at the top level, while the component itself is described using the functional or behavioral approach. So one could also actually describe the top level design entity, the 4-bit adder, using the functional or behavioral approach from the first shot, and have that described in only one VHDL file, like shown over here. This is just one way of doing it. You do need again entity declaration, and then the description here of the architecture that I call my_functional really describes what the functions, and it's just an addition of 2 numbers expanded or extended to 5 bits, so that I can compute the carry output as well, where the output would be the least significant 4 bits of the summation of those 2 expanded or extended inputs A and B. So as you can see, this functional description is in a way simpler, at least in terms of the number of lines of code that one would need to write. However, there is no guarantee that the synthesis tool, of the tool that you use to synthesize and place and route and get your final implementation will honor or will give you an internal structure that you would or may want for your design. So when the complexity of this project with design entities at the top level increase, the synthesis tool will optimize and may give you a final implementation whose internal structure may not be the one that you think intuitively about. So long story short, the main takeaway out of this discussion is that we have two primary approaches or styles to describe VHDL design entities, structural and functional. The recommendation, the preferred way is to try to do it structural, at least at the top level, and functional at the lower level. There are some other details that we'll talk in class more about. That's it, and I'll see you next time.